Fox Sports.
We are Blackboard. We are Arizona.
Our final homestand of the season continues. It's game 2 against the Cubs tonight. D-backs with only 11 games to go. A chance to even this series at 1 game apiece. It's a Teal Tuesday. D-backs and the Cubs on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. When the Diamondbacks acquired pitcher Matt Andriese from Tampa Bay just before the trade deadline, there was a short and a long-term plan. In the short term, he'd help out in the bullpen. Long term, he had a chance to be part of this rotation for several years to come. And Bob, tonight we get our first look at Andriese in a starting role.
Yeah, it comes under unfortunate circumstances with Clay Buchholz going down, but Matt Andriese is a guy that has done this before. 48 starts in his career with Tampa Bay, 14-14 record, ERA just under 4.5. Going to be interesting against this Cubs lineup that showed some signs of life last night after slumping a little bit recently. Going to have to keep that changeup down.
One Cubby bat that was pretty lively last night, Javier Baez, who homered and leads the National League and runs batted in.
Yeah, we heard the chants here at Chase Field last night. MVP, MVP, leads the National League in RBIs over Trevor Story, Nolan Arenado, Eugenio Suarez. The last Cub to lead the National League in RBIs was Sammy Sosa back in 01 with 160.
D-backs a chance to even this thing up with the Cubs. First pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By the NASCAR Can-Am 500 at ISM Raceway, November 9th, 10th, and 11th. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Arizona is brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The Card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the Card today. Well, it's the same in the division and the wild card. D-backs 5 back with 11 to play. They hand the ball to Matt Andriese, and the first pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. With you, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth with you. Diamondbacks now 5 games behind the Dodgers division lead with only 11 games to play. LA for the moment on top of the NL West, a half game over the Rockies. Colorado plays at Dodger Stadium tonight. In the meantime, the Cubs NL Central lead 2.5 over Milwaukee. Chicago has 88 wins. That's the most of the National League. And here's Joe Maddon's batting order tonight. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealer.
The veteran Daniel Murphy in the lineup tonight at second base, leading it off. Chris Bryant will be at third base this evening. Anthony Rizzo across the diamond at first. Javier Baez, big damage in the game last night. He'll be at shortstop tonight. Ben Zobrist will move from right to left. Wilson Contreras once again behind the plate. Jason Hayward out in right field. Mike Montgomery, the pitcher, batting 8th, and Ian Happ, the center fielder, batting 9th.
Well, this will be an interesting ball game for D-backs fans to watch. Your Ram Truck starting pitcher is the right-hander Matt Andriese. His first start as a Diamondback, filling the rotation spot for the injured Clay Buchholz. Now, Matt did make 4 starts earlier this year, but that was when he was with Tampa Bay.
And did pretty well in those starts with Tampa Bay. Gave up less than a hit per inning. And he's going to have to keep the ball out of the middle of the plate against this Cubs lineup. Got to work the corners, got to keep the changeup down.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the Diamondback defense.
Jeff Mathis behind the plate today for Matt Andriese. David Peralta will be in left field. A.J. Pollock in center. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. It'll be Eduardo Escobar and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Ketel Marte, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. As I mentioned, Jeff Mathis behind the dish and Matt Andriese on the mound.
Jim Reynolds is our plate umpire tonight, calling the balls and strikes. Lance Barksdale is the first base umpire. Will Little is at second. And there's the crew chief, Ted Barrett, is at third. Time bomb for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, if fans were tuned in last night or here at the ballpark last night, it certainly felt like Wrigley Field West. So tonight we're going to turn it into the unfriendly confines.
I like it. Well, the D-backs, things haven't been too friendly for them lately. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They've gone 7-17 in their last 24. And running out of time, 5 back with 11 to go. Daniel Murphy leads it off for the Cubs, and we are set to go here from downtown Phoenix. Murphy at 284 and 10 homers.
Yeah, Murphy did not play in the ball game last night. However, in his last 10 games here at Chase Field, he's batting nearly 500. 487. He scored 13 runs in those 10 games.
Acquired by the Cubs from the Washington Nationals on August 21st. Diamondbacks will overload the right-hand side against Murphy. They put the shift on. There's a fastball low. StatCast AI powered by AWS. There's a look at the D-back defense. That's fouled away. Matt Andriese this season working mostly with 2 pitches, the four-seam fastball and that cut changeup that has unusual movement to it. Those 2 pitches have made up about 90% of his arsenal as a reliever. And the fastball comes in at about 92. He's only thrown his curveball about 8% of the time, so we'll see if we see that breaking ball a little more often tonight. That was it right there. He dunks it into right center, a base hit for Murphy. Looking for a reliable third pitch tonight for Matt Andriese.
You talked about that changeup that has some cutting action away from a right-handed hitter into a lefty, very similar to the changeup we saw last night from Kyle Hendricks.
Unusual movement on it. Chris Bryant at third base tonight, 282 and 12 home runs. Murphy has some bad wheels, so he is not a threat to run at all. D-backs overload the third base side against Bryant, who had a pair of hits and walked here last night. He homered for the first time since July 20th. And home run coming off Randall Delgado in the 8th inning. Here's that breaking ball, missed away with it.
I don't think it's necessary for Matt Andriese to throw a lot of breaking balls, but I do think it's a good idea to show some here in the first inning like he has already, just to plant the seed in the Cubs' mind that this guy does have a third pitch. He does have a breaking ball to go along with the fastball changeup. Whether he uses it the rest of the game is another matter, but at least show it in the first.
Well, Matt went to Class A Visalia recently to make a start, throw an extended outing and get stretched out just a bit. That was August 31st. He went 3 2/3 scoreless innings at Stockton, pitching in the Cal League. Gave up only 1 hit. Walked 2 in that ball game. Had 5 strikeouts through 51 pitches. So 51 is the ballpark pitch count number here tonight. It's not anticipated he'll go very deep into the ball game, but he can stretch out just a bit.
And obviously some short pitch innings early in the ball game will enable him to get deeper into the game should Torrey choose to extend him a little bit.
2-1 on Bryant. Comes in with that fastball. Matt threw 42 pitches in his previous relief appearance for the Diamondbacks. That was last Monday at Colorado. And so he's going tonight on more than 1 full week's rest. He's behind on Bryant 3-1 with Rizzo on deck. Murphy holding at first. That one is tapped foul. The fastball low. Torey Lovullo was saying yesterday D-backs just wanted to take a look at Matt Andriese, see what he could offer in a starting role. As we've mentioned, he's a guy who has a starter background. If it looks good tonight, maybe he gets another start. If not, they'll go back to the drawing board and try it again, but they're excited to see what he can do here. Murphy holds, and there's that cut changeup. Andriese gets his first strikeout.
You mentioned that home run last night by Bryant came on a pitch up and out over the plate, very similar to that changeup, but really fooled by the velocity that time.
Anthony Rizzo hitting .277 with 24 home runs. And now the Diamondback infield moves back over to the first base side against the left-hand batter. Murphy bluffs and holds. The fastballs in there for a strike. Rizzo last night singled, had an RBI, and scored a run.
And we pointed it out last night. Anthony Rizzo almost has his toes on the inside corner of the plate. You won't see very many hitters, especially a guy his size with his power, stand that close to the plate.
Here's a question for you. From a right-hand pitcher to a left-hand batter, the changeup would drop down and away from the lefty because Matt's cut changeup drops toward the lefty. Does that scare him off that pitch against a guy like Rizzo?
I don't think it can scare him off that pitch. He needs that changeup against everybody, but he just has to scoot it over a little bit, maybe start it on that inside line of the right-handed batter's box and drop it on the outside corner.
Oh, 0-2.
And because he stands so close to the plate, Anthony Rizzo since 2012 has been hit by 114 pitches. John Jay second on that list at 96.
Watch his hands, Rizzo. They're low and they just kind of hang over the plate, almost in the strike zone. Punches that one foul. That was a breaking ball right there. Trying to sneak it in there.
Anthony Rizzo is not your prototypical middle of the lineup power hitter. With 2 strikes, he'll choke up on the bat. He'd take a swing like we just saw right there. Just try to punch the ball in play somewhere. And if you happen to make a mistake on that inside part, that's when he can show you his power.
Fastball up and away, just spoiling these pitches. Protecting the plate with 2 strikes. Rizzo, even with his base hit last night, just 4 for 31 at the plate in his last 10 games, so he's been slumping.
It's quite a contrast between Rizzo at the plate right now and his 2-strike approach and the guy in the on-deck circle.
Does Baez have a 2-strike approach?
No, he does not.
But he does have more RBIs than anyone else in the league. He's on deck. Murphy still holds down there. Once again, Rizzo just kind of pokes at it. Escobar can't quite get there. He tried the curveball, down and away again to Rizzo. Just kind of feeling his way around with that pitch, but being very careful not to hang it out over the plate. Here's Baez lurking. He'll be next. Homered here last night. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, anxious to see what they can get from their starter here tonight, Matt Andriese. Still 0-2. Came in that time. Wait, Rizzo was a tough out. You get him out, you've earned it. Makes you work.
He approaches his at bats like back in the days, the old school leadoff hitters. You know, pesky little guy, choke up on the bat, crouch over, stick your hands out there in the middle of the strike zone, just battle and fight off pitches. Awkward looking swings, but it works for him.
He's got that experience too. He's hit leadoff this year a number of times for Joe Madden. Saw him do that when we were at Wrigley Field earlier this year. That's the breaking ball again, and it's 1-2. You can see him choking up on that bat. This has got to be a tough spot for Matt right here. He does not want to make a mistake, doesn't want to be down 2-0 right out of the gate. But he can't nibble too much against a guy like this. He's got to make a pitch. And Mathis throws it over Goldie's head. It rolls all the way up the right field line, and Murphy will get third.
Good look at it right here. Jeff Mathis with a pitch in the dirt, anticipating that maybe Murphy would take an extra step off the bag, seeing that ball in the dirt, and just tries to throw from his knees down there to Goldie, and air mailed it out into right field. Error on Jeff Mathis.
That really is a good example of what's been happening to this team lately. Defense has been an absolute foundation block, and it's let them down the last couple of weeks. Something that was just airtight all year long. 2-2 on Rizzo. And that's grounded.
Well, and it's been on almost a nightly basis. You know, we went the better part of 5 months this season, and every time there was an error made defensively, it just shocked you. And now we're seeing it on almost a nightly basis. Somebody trying to do too much, throwing a ball away, rushing a throw, whatever the case may be. It is not Diamondbacks baseball.
And Torrey has talked to his guys about that, individually and as a group. Just be yourselves. That's what he told them. Just relax. Everybody just be yourself. Went back to the curveball. They've tried that pitcher a number of times, and Rizzo keeps just getting a piece of it to stay alive. And this long at bat keeps getting longer. Pitch number 11 to Anthony Rizzo coming up. Now you've got Murphy down there at third. The infield is still overloaded on the right hand side. th pitch of the inning on the way from Matt Andriese. 11 of them to Anthony Rizzo, and will keep going.
This is one of those at bats. He's working so hard to get strike three or a ground ball or a pop up. It might throw a ball right down the middle, and Rizzo wouldn't know what to do with it. He's fouled off everything Matt Andriese has thrown up there. Both sides of the plate, up, down, in, out, doesn't matter.
It's just two guys who are not going to give in. Matt is not going to give him a cookie to hit, and Rizzo is just going to keep battling. So here we go. Pitch number 12. Unbelievable. And we mentioned the pitch count. This is the last thing they wanted. A long at bat like this to drive that pitch count up. It's going to be right around 50 anyway. He's fouled off 9 different pitches. 2-2. Make it 10. This is unbelievable.
Now, back in the day, if you had a veteran pitcher on the mound that would get tired of this nonsense, he might go just ahead and drill Rizzo, put him on first base, and try to get a double play grounder off the bat of Javier Baez. This has been a ridiculous at bat running up that pitch count.
14 pitch at bat, 10 foul balls. Oh my goodness.
Uncle. You technically have a pitch to waste here. It's only a 2-2 count with all these foul balls. You could try to bounce a curveball, bounce a changeup, maybe elevate a fastball way above the top of the strike zone. Rizzo obviously in swing mode right now, getting a piece of everything.
Remember earlier this season, the Giants' Brandon Belt set a new MLB record, a 21 pitch at bat. And we'll keep going. It's full. There's your pitch to waste. 3-2. Baez on deck. Murphy down there at third. 1 out. I think you have to give Matt a tremendous amount of credit just simply for not giving in to Rizzo right here. He is going to battle him all the way to the end, regardless of how it ends up. Got that in on the hands, and he can't keep it fair.
Well, there's a real fine line on that inside part of the plate to Rizzo where you can get in on his hands, but if you don't get it in there far enough, he can buggy whip you right down that right field line.
Still with 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. And it's lined up the middle. Nick Ahmed is there, and Andres wins the battle.
Well, once again, a shifted D-backs defender in exactly the right spot. Right over the head of Matt Andres, and Nick Ahmed there to make the diving catch, keep that ball out of center field, and keep Murphy down there at third base.
That was something. Still more work to do. Here's the National League RBI leader who hit his 32nd home run last night against Patrick Corbin, and it was not a cheapie.
Not at
all. He was fired up after he reportedly destroyed the toilet facility next to the Cub dugout during the game. Took some of his frustrations out on the plumbing. 105 RBIs.
Don't throw him a strike.
Don't need to.
25 walks in 555 at bats this year.
Well, he started him off with that changeup. The home run last night is 32nd of the year. That leads the Cubs. Two changeups so far. He's kind of yanked them both, and he's behind 2-0. Cubs have not had a player lead the National League in RBI since Sammy Sosa back in 2001.
160 for Sammy Sosa. That's like 2 good years.
High in the air, deep to right center field. And Baez has done it again.
A center cut cement mixer that time. Tried to throw a slider, didn't take any break whatsoever. Hey, you pitch to this guy, he's going to hurt you. Don't throw him a strike.
That's his 33rd. And it's 2-0 Chicago. The batter is Ben Zobrist. Fastball's a strike, 0-1. Zobrist third in the National League with that .314 batting average. He's got 9 homers. Javier Baez having an MVP caliber season. There's that changeup. Matt keeps overthrowing that changeup just a bit. He's bounced the last 3 up there. He's already over 30 pitches in the inning, most of them to Anthony Rizzo. Back to the change, and it's 1-2. Colorado and the Dodgers will be in action shortly in LA. Good pitching matchup there. Kyle Freeland and Clayton Kershaw. And Andriese with a fastball gets his second strikeout. Baez, the home run, gives the Cubs the early lead. Games this year, working both in the rotation and the bullpen. Tonight, his 17th start. That's a new career high.
His last 3 starts, he's gone 4 1/3, 4 and 4 again. Stretched out enough that he could go deeper into the ball game, but with a fully stocked bullpen, wouldn't surprise me to see Joe Maddon pull the plug early if he feels it necessary.
Valley Chevy Dealers has the D-backs lineup.
A.J. Pollock will lead it off out in center field. Eduardo Escobar at third base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. David Peralta will be out in left field. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. Nick Ahmed at short. Ketel Marte at second, with Jeff Mathis doing the catching for righty Matt Andriese.
A.J. starts us off. He homered last night. There's the fastball for Montgomery for a strike. Pollock at 261 now with 18 home runs. His home run last night, A.J.'s second in his last 5 games. He homered at Colorado last week. Cubs will play 3 infielders on the third base side. Murphy, the second baseman, just over on the shortstop side of the base. There he is, right in the center of your screen. As Bob mentioned, we're almost certainly headed for a bullpen game with these 2 starters. Montgomery hasn't completed 5 innings in any of his last 3 starts, mostly because he's been on the DL with a left shoulder problem. He was on the disabled list for about 2 weeks last month. There's Brandon Hyde, the bench coach, the skipper Joe Maddon. Montgomery just went 4 innings last Thursday at Washington. Prior to that, 4 innings and a loss to the Brewers at Miller Park, and that was coming off a rough outing he had in Atlanta, where Montgomery was tagged for 4 runs, 8 hits, and just 4 1/3. He gets A.J. to swing over a changeup. E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the diamond at the Chicago defense tonight.
Ben Zobrist in left field tonight. Ian Happ will be in center. Jason Hayward over in right field. Chris Bryant and Javier Baez on the left side of the infield. Daniel Murphy and Anthony Rizzo on the right side, with Wilson Contreras doing the catching for lefty Mike Montgomery.
Eduardo Escobar batting from the right hand side, the switch hitter at 267 and 22 home runs. Fastball misses up. Escobar doubled in last night's series opener. And for a long time that was the Diamondbacks' only hit. It was their only base hit in the first 8 innings of the ball game last night. He doubled in the 4th.
Yeah, shot a little flare down the left field line over the head of the third baseman, hit fair, rolled into foul territory, and he was able to reach second base, and that was about it for the Diamondbacks until the 9th.
Kyle Hendricks went into that 9th inning working on a shutout. AJ, the first batter of the 9th, homered, and that took care of that. Montgomery behind 3-0. He's got Goldie on deck. He missed in with a fastball, a 1-out walk.
First baseman, number 44,
Paul Goldschmidt, 299 and 33 home runs. Boy, it'd be nice if Goldie could finish with a 3 at the front of that batting average.
Sure
that would be
would.
a tremendous accomplishment considering he was hitting 198 for the year back on May 22nd. Slow curveballs in for a strike. Goldie walked and singled last night. There it is, 2-9er-9er. A 101 games ago it was at 198. Montgomery gets his second strikeout, 2 down.
Looked to be another changeup out there on the outside corner. Really way out in front once again.
Here's Peralta. David at 296 and 28 homers. 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. As Torlavello often does against the left-hand starter, Goldie bats third, Peralta fourth against the right-hand starter. Those two switch spots, 3 and 4. Peralta slams one to center right at Ian Happ. And Montgomery strands the 1-out walk. D-backs trail the Cubs 2-0.
on the mound, making his first start in the D-backs uniform. Torrey said he turned to the 29-year-old righty tonight because he likes the way he matches up against the Cubs, considering the fact that he has 3 pitches he can really use as effective weapons out there. Torrey also said the fact that Matt has been able to go out there and navigate through a rugged AL East and achieve success speaks volumes. And now Torrey hopes that Matt will have an opportunity after a few rough relief appearances to go out there and make a fresh start with the D-backs and kind of rewrite the season in a good way. We'll see how that carries out, guys. He has only been stretched out to about 40-45 pitches. Torrey said he's not really going to watch the pitch count tonight, but rather focus on how many times Matt goes through the order. But after a 33 pitches thrown in that first inning, we'll see how this one plays out.
Yeah, about half of them came to Anthony Rizzo. That was a long at bat that Matt finally won before the Baez homer. Here's Wilson Contreras, the Cub catcher, and Andriese is quickly ahead 0-2. Contreras 259 and 9 home runs. 0 for 4 last night. And Andriese, a dozen appearances for the Diamondbacks this year, all in relief. Acquired from Tampa Bay just before the trade deadline. His last start this year was back on July 4th with Tampa Bay, just as the Rays were beginning that opener approach. Instead of having a closer finish the game, they have an opener start the game, and you begin with the bullpen and go from there. They've experimented with that idea this year. So that's how most of Matt's starts went for the Rays this season. He'd go 2 innings, and next time 3 innings, next time 3 1/3. They'd bring in another guy, he'd go 3 innings, and they're trying to revolutionize the way they do things there.
Possibly seeing the future of baseball. We've talked about it at length over the course of the season, and I think with all the emphasis on analytics, and the numbers would say the third time through a lineup, every pitcher struggles, not just a couple of pitchers. Everybody struggles that third and fourth time through an opposing lineup, especially if you got a team loaded with 3 or 4 right-handed hitters or 3 or 4 left-handed hitters at the top of their order. You could start the appropriate right or left-handed pitcher against those guys in the first inning and then make a change right away in the second.
Just have 3 guys go 1 time through the order once each. Although I had a long conversation about this with TJ McFarland not too long ago. How do you manage that? I mean, do you have guys who work in little subsets of 3? You 3 guys work together, because you have to have some kind of schedule, because guys need regular work and they have to be prepared and all that. But it's got to be a tricky thing to schedule and manage over the course of a 6-month season.
Well, it will be, no question about it. You see it in the minor leagues all the time, piggybacking.
This is lifted in the air to right center. Steven Souza has it.
Especially with young pitchers that are on a pitch count or a pitch limit. And one guy's going to start the game, and another starter knows he's going to come in relief in the 4th or 5th inning of that ball game, and that's the way they operate a lot of times at the minor league level, piggybacking starters.
Well, we've had the term closer in the game for a long time now. We may be seeing the term opener become a regular thing. Here's Jason Hayward, the right fielder. 275, 7 home runs. There's a look at the Diamondback defense against him.
You know who's not going to like that?
Any
agents of starting pitchers.
Yes.
Former starting pitchers, where you cash in on wins and ERA and all that, innings pitched, all those good things.
It's a fascinating topic. Now, what do you do? And I understand there's only a handful of these guys anyway, but what do you do if you have a Verlander or a Sale or a DeGrom or a Scherzer or a guy like that? You want him to go 7 innings every time. Now, there's not a problem for a lot of teams. Like I said, there's only a handful of those guys, but where do you draw the line? How do you work those guys into the mix? Hayward shoots that to left center, and that'll get to the wall. A 1-out double, the 3rd hit for Chicago.
Hayward came in as a defensive replacement last night, gets a belt high fastball up and out over the plate, finds that gap in left center field.
Hayward, a brief appearance last night. He'd been out since August 30th with right hamstring tightness, so he's not running as he usually does. Just activated from the DL on Sunday. He's at second, one down for the pitcher Mike Montgomery, who bats eighth for Joe Madden. This is another thing I thought we're kind of getting away from. It became very trendy about 3 years ago or so, but now there's only, it seems like, a couple of teams that still bat the pitcher eighth. Cubs are one of them. Kyle Hendricks batted in the 8th spot last night for Chicago. Montgomery does have 3 hits on the year and an RBI. Batting just 103. He's got Ian Happ, the center fielder, on deck. .45 pitches for Andriese. So we're already getting close to the limit. You got to figure. Remember, he threw 51 in that start for Visalia back on August 31st. Went 3 2/3 innings, 51 pitches in that outing. Good high fastball. That's one thing that Torrey definitely wanted to see from Matt here tonight. Elevate that fastball, work up and down with it. Don't be afraid to work up in the strike zone with that heater, then drop it down, mix in the changeup and the occasional curveball, and you'll be okay. 2-2 on Montgomery. Slaps that one down the line, and it slices out of play. They're underway in LA, the Rockies and the Dodgers. Kyle Freeland for Colorado, Clayton Kershaw for Los Angeles. Dodgers lead the division by a half game over Colorado. Rockies a half game behind the Cardinals for the second wild card spot. As Andriese gets his 3rd strikeout. Cardinals right now are leading at Atlanta 3-1. They're in the 8th inning. Milwaukee trailing at home against the Reds 3-1. They're in the 9th. Brewers have the 1st National League wild card spot. They're 2.5 back of the Cubs NL Central lead. Here's Ian Happ, 229, 15 home runs. The center fielder. Good low fastball. Work up and work down with that pitch. Right at 92, 93. Happ is a switch hitter. Most of his power comes from the left side of the plate. 50 pitches, 37 strikes for Andriese. This is hit deep to left field the other way. Peralta near the bullpen. He's at the wall. He can't get it. Hayward will score. It's an RBI double for Ian Happ, and it's 3-0 Chicago.
Slicing drive down in that left field corner. Another fastball up and out over the plate. Happ stays right on it. David had a beat on it. He just shied away right there. It's still a step away from the wall. 18th double of the season for Ian Happ.
Leadoff man Daniel Murphy singled and scored in the 1st. Good low fastball starts him off with a strike. Murphy has played 22 games with the Cubs. since he was acquired from Washington August 21st. He's hit .250 with 4 homers in a Chicago uniform. Oh, 0-2. As we mentioned before, this should not be an uncomfortable spot for Matt Andriese. They liked his makeup as a starter when they acquired him from Tampa Bay prior to this year. In fact, he'd been used mostly as a starting pitcher. 17 starts with the Rays last season, 19 starts 2 years ago in Tampa Bay. So this is not unfamiliar territory for him. Ahead of Murphy, 0-2. And now at 55 pitches, the number's starting to get a little uncomfortable for Torey Lovullo and Mike Butcher. Jimmy Sherfy starts to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Remember Matt's previous outing for the Diamondbacks last Monday at Colorado. He threw 42 pitches. This is hit deep to right field and gone. Well, Bob, I don't know if we'll get a fair take on Matt Andriese as a starter when you consider what that battle against Rizzo must have taken out of him.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that was physically taxing on Matt Andriese. That long at bat, feeling like he had to execute perfect pitches every time, and Rizzo just kept fouling him off. But he made some mistakes to some pretty good hitters, and they've made him pay in this game already.
All 5 Chicago runs coming with 2 outs. Here's Chris Bryant, who struck out his first time up. Three defenders on the third base side against Bryant. Daniel Murphy's 11th and his 5th as a Cub. Foul at third. There's Bam Bam Balderrama, our Golden Glover, down the left field line tonight. Karen Jenkins in right field. .60 pitches for Andriese, 45 for strikes. And Bryan strikes out for the second time. We head to the home half of the second. Diamondbacks trail at 5-0. Paul DeYoung of the Cardinals in Atlanta. St. Louis currently holding the second National League wild card spot right behind Milwaukee, and they lead the Braves 6-1. Rockies a half game back of St. Louis for that second wild card. They are scoreless right now at Dodger Stadium. Baez a homer in the first and Murphy in the second. It's 5-0 Chicago as Steven Souza Jr. steps in against Mike Montgomery.
Well, if they want to slug, we'll slug. Sometimes you just got to go to banging on the other team. Gracie and Matty Williams and some of the boys back in the day, I've told this story before. If we gave up a run or two in the first inning or 3 or 4 in the first inning, they'd come into the dugout defensively, come off the field. All right, if they want to bang, we'll bang. Let's go. Swing the bats. I mean, you kind of had a feeling with Matt Andriese starting the ball game today. Obviously, it was going to be a short outing, and we weren't quite sure what we were going to get from Matt. But in a 5-0 hole right now, let it fly. Let's go. Swing those bats.
1-2 on Souza. And he's caught looking at a changeup. And Montgomery has struck out 3 of the first 5 he's faced.
Probably not the location he was looking for with that changeup, but felt high on the outside corner. Gets a strike call from Jim Reynolds behind the plate.
Nick Ahmed. Nick 0 for 3 last night. Checks in at 245 and 16 home runs. That changeup has been a pretty effective pitch for Montgomery so far tonight. Got Ahmed to swing over the top, and now he's ahead 0-2. Mike Montgomery out of Santa Clara, California. First round pick out of high school by the Royals back in 2008. 29-year-old left-hander. Look out, Nick. Now that changeup really got away from Montgomery. Wilson Contreras doing his best Tony Pena imitation back there behind the plate.
Wilson Contreras had a little extra pep in his step the last couple of ball games after the incident he had a few days ago. Hit that ball off the wall in center field at Wrigley and stood at home plate admiring his handiwork. He thought he had hit a home run, but the ball hit about middle way up the ivy. Created quite a storm in his own clubhouse with his own manager, but according to Joe Madden, everything has been forgiven. Contreras apologized not only to his own teammates but to Luis Castillo, who threw the pitch for the Cincinnati Reds in that ball game. And like I said, Contreras had a little more pep in his step the last couple of ball games.
Well, you want your guys to be loose and fun and play with a little bit of swag. That's fine, but it just can't get in the way of things, and it did for Contreras. Well, Montgomery's fastball, changeup, curveball, cutter right there. He's giving you the whole kitchen sink. Working down and away, up, coming in. He's got a big bag of tricks out there. And sails that changeup up and away. 4 strikeouts for Montgomery. Here's Ketel Marte. Switch hitter batting right-handed. That's been his superior side of the plate this year. Ketel at 252, 11 home runs. Batting average as a right-hand batter goes up to .308. Fastball misses in. Cattell had a very productive road trip through Colorado and Houston. He doubled twice. He tripled. He homered. Knocked in 7 runs on that road trip. Got the night off here last night. Dodgers have taken the early lead against Colorado. Kershaw versus Friedland. It's 1-0 LA. They're in the second. Rockies come in here on Friday. Dodgers will be here Monday. Marte lines one to left and gone. Ketel Marte gets the D-backs on the board. That's Marte's 12th of the year, his 7th as a right-hand batter.
Oh, a laser beam line drive off the bat of Ketel Marte that time. Ben Zobrist just took a couple steps and turned around to play the carom off the wall, but it sails 2 or 3 rows back into the bleachers. D-backs are on the board.
That's a free jumbo jacket Jack in the Box tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink. Jeff Mathis steps in. You know, Bob, that home run that Marte hit was just like the one he hit in Houston from the left side of the plate, which went down the right field line.
That was a screaming line drive that barely cleared the fence down the right field line.
He's got legit power from both sides. 207 for Mathis. And he pops it up shallow center. Happ coming in. Murphy drifting out there. It's Ian Happ. Marte's 12th against the Diamondbacks on the board. They trail it 5-1. For the D-backs first run tonight. Don't miss out on any postseason action this year. Sign up online for the chance to get tickets. Visit dbacks.com/postseason for more information. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the right-hander Jimmy Sherfy, on in relief of Matt Andriese. 10th appearance of the year for Jimmy, and Anthony Rizzo will lead it off.
See the numbers for Jimmy Sherfy here at the major league level this year. Had a really good season down in Reno in 38 ball games. He was 5-1 with 15 saves and an ERA of 1.60.
Rizzo had that unbelievable battle with Andriese in the first before he lined out up the middle of Nick Ahmed, who was shifted over there. And the defense is in just about the same spot right here. That's just about where Nick was when he caught the Rizzo liner. Good slider from Jimmy Sherfy. 1-2. That's that Sherfy breaking ball. Sometimes it looks like a curve, other times a slider. Got it again and fouled it off. Rizzo fights it off and lines it to Souza. One down in the third. Well, here's Javier Baez. He homered in the 6th inning last night. Homered in his first at bat here tonight. This was Baez and Andres, and there goes his 33rd. Baez a .566 slugging percentage this year, just a handful of points behind Christian Yelich for the National League lead. Baez leading the league both in RBIs and total bases. He leads the Cubs in hits and now leads the National League in extra base hits, breaking a tie with Trevor Story.
That Baez home run out to right center field. 107 miles an hour off the bat, went 408 feet. Here's the interesting thing, a 31-degree launch angle. Now, just to show you the difference, Ketel Marte's home run was hit at 113 miles an hour, went 388, but had a 17-degree launch angle. Now, I wasn't great at geometry, but that just tells you that one was a towering fly ball that carried out of here to center field. The other, a rocket line drive that barely cleared in left.
Each impressive in its own way.
Yep.
Boy, Jimmy threw a nice breaking ball. Baez took a wild swing and missed, and then he just dotted that fastball and caught him looking 2 down.
Yeah, Baez has always been a real good breaking ball hitter when it's in the strike zone. Dropped that one right out there on the outside corner. Another fastball out there. That's a nasty breaking ball. And then Baez probably expecting another one. Just takes a fastball right down the middle at 94. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
You just like Jimmy Sherfy's makeup. He is not afraid out there. Tough play for Peralta near the line. He won't get it. It drops in off the bat of Zobrist, who will stop at first, a 2-out single. Here's Wilson Contreras, the catcher. There's that Sherfy breaking ball. Steal strike 1. Contreras an all-star this year, but he's hitting under .220 in the second half of the year. His numbers have kind of tailed off here down the stretch. In his last 36 games, he's hitting just .185. Took an 0 for 4 last night. Tried the breaking ball, missed up with it. 1-1. Couldn't tempt him away. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Contreras with Hayward on deck.
Jimmy Sherfy has a little of that fall off the mound to the first base side, not to the drastic extent that Zach Godley does, but especially on that breaking ball, you'll see him kind of tumble off to that first base side, really trying to pull that pitch out there on the outside corner.
Godley scheduled to start Friday against Colorado here. This is hit deep to left field. Peralta's there. And Sherfy strands the 2-out single. Diamondbacks trail the Cubs 5-1. Take the at-bat to start the third. Time for your Sun State postseason update. There it is, 5 for the Diamondbacks, both in the division and the wild card, with only 11 games to play. LA leads the NL West by half game over Colorado, and they lead the Rockies right now 1-0 in the third at Dodger Stadium. Cardinals holding that second wild card spot, have a 7-1 lead at Atlanta. They're in the ninth. So here's Kivlahan hitting for Sherfy. Grounds to Bryant at third. Hey, we need to give a big birthday shout out to the great Kimberly Riley, the wife of our senior director of team travel, home clubhouse manager Roger Riley. It's Kimberly's birthday today.
Very nice.
So happy birthday, Kimberly.
Probably spending it like she spends just about every other day during the summer at the ballpark.
Yeah, we see her all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Home and away. So yeah, make it a good one, Kimberly. Here's AJ. He struck out to lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Got another birthday, BB, we got to pass along. It's Mickey's grandma's birthday. Hey, Mick.
Hey.
Sylverta Livingston, who is in Coolidge, watches all the Diamondback games. Her birthday is coming up next week. And how about this, Bob? Sylverta had to change her cable provider just so she could keep watching every Diamondback game.
That's a fan right there.
How's she doing, Mick?
She's great, man.
You want to give her a happy birthday?
Yeah, I'll give her a really happy birthday. Happy birthday, grandmother. Love you.
See, that's nice.
That's very nice.
Way to go. 1-1 on AJ Pollock. Good fastball low, 1-2. This is tapped up the line and foul in front of Dave McKay at first.
A very nice letter here from Coco Hill, Colette Hill. I call her Coco. She lives in Mesa.
Yeah.
And I'm quoting. Your vocabulary and smart repartee consistently delight us.
a very highbrow letter.
I think she might have sent it to the wrong booth.
Yeah, maybe. Give it to Lenny.
Well, thank you, Coco. We do appreciate it. I think Contreras wanted that pitch up.
What makes you say that?
He was standing straight up. Jim Reynolds just kind of disappeared behind him there.
He wants this one down. AJ lifts it up. Hayward in right.
Now, here was the previous pitch when Wilson Contreras wanted it up.
Well, that
maybe a little excessive, but you know, he wanted to make sure Mike Montgomery didn't make a mistake in the middle of the zone.
I remember back when the Red Sox started winning World Series all the time. Jason Varitek would do that a lot. Stand all the way up. Eduardo Escobar walked his first time. That's a bullet. Fair down the line. Escobar already with 46 doubles. It's in the seats, and that's number 47.
Good for Eduardo. He's had to dive and dodge and make plays on balls hit down that third base line. Now he's rewarded. You see Ted Barrett jumping out of the way, saw some chalk kick up right there and immediately calls it fair.
Bam Bam Balderrama did a tremendous job to get out of the way. Sir, you are not in the game, so please don't do that. Here's Goldie, who struck out his first time. One swing, it's a ball game again.
I think that's a big hurdle the Diamondbacks need to get over as well. It just feels lately like if they fall behind early in the game, there's not a lot of comeback in this offense lately. They just need to string together a couple hits. As Torrey says, build an inning. Play for a moment. Get somebody up there with a couple of teammates on base and juice one.
That one kicks back to the screen. Escobar will get third. As Montgomery uncorked a wild fastball.
Contreras just tries to pick that one cleanly out of the dirt. I say it all the time. Catchers never anticipate a fastball in the dirt. Breaking ball, changeup, splitter, absolutely. But that fastball, you expect a major league pitcher to get it somewhere near his target in the air to home plate.
Well, Montgomery's created problems for himself. The 2-out double, the wild pitch, now behind on Goldie 2-0. Well, that changeup has been a very effective pitch for him here tonight. They already hit for Sherfy. Jake Diekman ready in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Cubs will have Hayward, Montgomery, and Happ due up 7, 8, 9 in the fourth. Rounded to shortstop. Montgomery strands the 2-out double. We're through 3. D-backs trailing 5-1. Play along in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle presented by the Arizona Lottery from home. Along with everyone here at Chase Field, your chance to win half the pot and help the kids in our community. Get your tickets online during every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/5050 raffle. And they'll hand out the winning number on the post-game show. Jackpot is already about $18,000 and a big crowd here tonight, so it's a good night to play the 50-50. Lefty Jake Diekman on to start the fourth. Jason Hayward leads it off for Chicago. Hayward doubled and scored in the second.
I told you yesterday, partner, I ran into Jason Hayward down in the Cubs clubhouse before the ball game, and
I hope you didn't run into him too hard because he is a big human.
A ginormous human, 6'5", 240, and looks bigger than that when you're standing next to him.
I remember when he first came up with the Atlanta Braves, he was just a kid. He was hitting a home run every day, and everybody said he's going to be the next Hank Aaron.
I saw his major league debut down in Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
hit that monster home run into the bullpen in right center field. His first major league at bat against Carlos Zambrano.
One of the best, maybe the best defensive outfielder in the game. 5 Gold Gloves, including 4 in a row. Off the mound, Ahmed, not a bad defender himself. Boy, if he doesn't win a Gold Glove this year, you and I are launching a full investigation.
Absolutely. There ought to be an investigation. I mean, that ball is sizzled right over the mound, right over the bag at second. A lot of things to deal with there, but Nick never loses focus on that baseball. Nice diving stop, gets to his feet and shows off that strong throwing arm.
The pitcher, Mike Montgomery.
Yeah, Nick was actually his name was placed on the 2018 Louisville Slugger Silver Slugger watch list, not only as a defensive player but as an offensive player.
This is punched down the line foul.
There were 4 Diamondbacks: Goldie, Nick Ahmed, David Peralta, and Zach Greinke, all on the Silver Slugger watch list.
That's a big accomplishment for Nick, who's worked just as hard on his offense as he does on his Gold Glove caliber defense, and it's really paid off this year. There's that Diekman slider, 0-2. It's a good matchup for Torrey in this inning. You've got 2 left-hand batters coming up to face Diekman in Hayward and Montgomery, and then Happ, the switch hitter, you'll flip him around to bat right-handed. So that works out pretty well. And you got another lefty, Murphy, leading off if he gets that far.
Jason Hayward shot up the middle that Nick made that great play on 110 miles an hour off the bat. I mean, we saw Jake Diekman barely had time to react to the ball on the mound.
He reacts to that one okay. 2 down for Jake. Ian Happ, the center fielder. And an RBI double and scored in the second against Andriese, batting left-handed. Now he'll bat righty against the lefty Diekman. And you see those 15 home runs, 12 has come as a left-hand batter, so you want him batting right-handed.
Well, Ian Happ really fits the mold of what Joe Madden looks for in a ball player. He plays all over the field. He's played everywhere but shortstop and catcher at the major league level.
Yeah, he's a really talented player, the 9th overall pick in the draft in 2015 out of the University of Cincinnati. He's a Bearcat. Good slider there, 1-1. But he hasn't quite put up the types of numbers he showed as a rookie last year. Last year hit 24 homers. This year 15. The OPS is down about 100 points.
I think some of that's just the adjustments that go along with Major League Baseball. You go from who is this guy to I know this guy.
Word gets around pretty fast.
Good fastball at 96 from Diekman. That's what has made him such a successful pitcher over the years. That mid to upper 90s fastball from that funky arm angle and that big wipeout slider from the left-hand side. That was it right there. Hit the corner. Diekman works a 1-2-3 fourth. D-backs down 5-1. Diamondbacks down 5-1. Now it's time for Lowe's whole team together. Just what you were talking about, the Silver Slugger watch list for D-backs right there.
Silver Slugger is awarded to the best offensive player at their position. Pretty tough to argue with any of those four guys.
Yeah. Zach Greinke pitches here Saturday against Colorado. Peralta, who lined out to center in the first, leads off the fourth against Mike Montgomery. Got that big final homestand. This is game 2 of 9. One more against the Cubs, 3 against the Rockies starting Friday, and then 3 against the Dodgers starting on Monday. Final homestand of 2018. We finish up next weekend at San Diego with 3 games. Only 11 more to go, counting tonight. A lot of fans writing as they're planning on attending this final homestand. Becky Alcorn from Camp Verde, Arizona. Becky never misses a game on TV. She'll be here to see us beat the Rockies, she says. Thank you, Becky, for your letter. Jan and Glenn Latimer and Happy Jack, Arizona.
Oh, Happy Jack.
They're coming on Saturday. They sent us a letter. And they'll be taking the pregame ballpark tour, so they're going to do the tour of Chase Field here Saturday. So thanks, Jan and Glenn and Happy Jack. Don Houck from Yuma is coming to see the Dodgers. He's excited about coming to that series. Peralta skips one to first. Rizzo's there. Montgomery covers close. And Lance Barksdale says Peralta's out.
Rizzo a little lackadaisical letting that ball travel as far as he did. Made it a close play there at first base. Montgomery just beating Peralta to the bag. We got a nice letter here from Kenneth Rock down in Tucson, or K-Rock as we like to call him. He was born in Toledo, Ohio, but he's lived down in Tucson in Oro Valley for quite some time. He's been to Coshocton, Ohio. He's actually been to the Coshocton County Fair.
I'm so jealous.
He got to see Loretta Lynn back in the day.
Oh, coal miner's daughter.
Yeah.
Steven Souza Jr.
Well, Kenneth did have a question. He wanted to know how many baseballs are used during the course of a ball game. You care to venture a guess?
6 dozen.
10 to 12 dozen.
Wow. I believe that. Well, they, as you point out, they change baseballs almost every batter.
Yeah. Every time the ball hits the dirt or gets scuffed or gets put into play, it's usually thrown out and a fresh ball put into play.
Fastball misses up. It's 1-2. Souza couldn't check and strikes out. We mentioned Don Houck from Yuma. Now Don is an older gentleman. He's on oxygen 24/7, and he's always wanted to come to a Diamondback game, but he figured it would just be too big of a production and he wouldn't be able to enjoy the game and it might be trouble. So his nephew has made arrangements with the help of the Diamondbacks and the D-back staffers here. They've going to set up a special area for Don. And he and his wife are going to come to the game against the Dodgers next Monday. And he is really, really excited.
Outstanding.
So Don and Sharon from Yuma will be here Monday to see us beat the Dodgers. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys. Here's Nick. Nick struck out his first time. Montgomery 50 pitches 33 strikes. Fastball misses low. Ahmed's ahead 2-0. He's got Marte on deck. Well, Nick's been really productive lately. Last 13 games he's got 6 extra base hits, 8 RBIs. He's hit over 290. He's had a good approach against lefties all year long. Rockies are on the board in LA. They've tied the Dodgers 1-1. They're in the 3rd. Marte homered his first time up tonight. Cardinals now a final. They beat the Braves in Atlanta 8-1. That fastball's in there on 3-0. Brewers have lost. This is a big game for the Cubs. They can pick up a game on Milwaukee. Reds 3-1 winners at Miller Park. That one's lined foul. So if the Cubs are able to hang on, they'll boost their lead over the Brewers to 3.5. Atop the National League Central Division. Well, that gentleman brought his glove. Nice catch. And unlike our D-back fan the other day in Houston, he was wearing the glove.
Yeah, that always helps.
And he was able to make the play. Full count on Nick, 3-2. Almost got Tony Perez Chica down there at 3rd. Look at Bam Bam Balderrama ranging way out there.
Yeah, Bam Bam doesn't need a shift. He just covers the entire left side of the field by himself. Yeah, I think that's the guy that reached over the railing earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought he was out of here. Ahmed strikes out. We're through 4. D-backs trail at 5-1.
Two season, Greg Colbran playing first base that night against the Padres with a 5-for-5 night, hit for the cycle. A couple of 2-run homers, and this is the one that shocked the world. A triple down into the right field corner, rattled around down there long enough for Colby to end up at third base. I'll tell you, Greg Colbran could not run fast, but boy, could he run hard.
Like he was mad at the ground, right? Here's Murphy against Diekman to start the 5th. Now San Diego, that's where you always had that one really annoying fan that used to get on you guys all the time, right? Give Gonzo a hard time out there in left field.
Yeah, he gave everybody a hard time. Anybody that got within earshot, and he had a big voice. You could hear him all over the ballpark if he was getting on you. And
at the Murph,
we went out after a ball game one night. Several of the players and the coaching staff.
Just for lemonade.
Yeah. And I'll be darned if he wasn't in the establishment that we were at and wanted to come over and make nice with us. And I suggested that maybe he beat it.
In the words of Michael Jackson,
we don't like seeing you at the ballpark. We sure don't want to talk to you now.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Bryant has struck out twice so far. He's on deck. 3-0 on Murphy, who has singled, homered, and scored twice. Archie Bradley jersey in the house. He's got the beard going too. Got a ways to go with that one though. And Murphy gets first. No one got Jim Reynolds.
Yeah, that was a weird looking hit by pitch there. You would expect it to get deflected a little bit of a different direction if it hit Murphy that time. It actually hit off the end of Jeff Mathis' glove. I would expect it to come.
I think they scored a walk.
Okay.
Yeah, Reynolds hit me here and here and here. Here's Chris Bryant now. Set it for the corner. Peralta over to cut it off. Murphy digging for third. Bryant is in at second with a double.
Well, he didn't exactly square it up. Got hit down near where the bat changes colors from the white handle to the black barrel, but muscled it down that left field line. Putting Cubs at second and third with nobody out. Middle of the lineup coming up.
It'll be Rizzo, who has twice lined out tonight, 0 for 2. Bullpen will start to get busy again for the Diamondbacks. Well, Anthony Rizzo turned in one of the at-bats of the season across the major leagues. 17 pitches against Matt Andriese.
Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game. Try to keep your eye on that. 17 pitches. Wow.
Mike Butcher out to the mound. I think what 10 or 11 foul balls, something like that. Vino Bracho warming up quickly in the Diamondback bullpen. Mike Butcher will let Jim Reynolds come out and use up all his allotted time. Bracho worked an inning in the ball game last night.
We just showed you that at bat by Anthony Rizzo against Matt Andriese earlier in the ball game. 17 pitches. At the 17 pitch mark, Mike Montgomery had 4 outs.
How about that, huh? Yeah, Matt went 2 innings here, gave up a couple of home runs. But that and Rizzo, that was only the 3rd batter of the ball game. So Matt, in terms of the pitch count and the effort level, was right behind the 8 ball as soon as he got started. Really did not give in to Rizzo and finally got him to line out up the middle to Ahmed, who is right behind Bryant at second now. Second and third, nobody out. And is bounced through Goldie and into right. Murphy will score. Bryant right behind, and it's 7-1.
Just kind of smothers that breaking ball way out off the outside corner of the plate. Remember how close he stands to the plate. He can still reach that ball and pull it back to the right side. Tough hop for Goldie there. That last hop kind of up and over the glove into right field. 2 more Cubs will score.
And Torey Lovello is going to go get Jake Diekman with the National League RBI leader Javier Baez coming up. Back after this. During our broadcast tomorrow, this is an amazing opportunity. It's your chance to give back to the community with the D-backs and Fox Sports Arizona, our annual charity fundraising broadcast, all to benefit the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation. and a limited number of one-of-a-kind prints autographed personally by every member of the Diamondbacks 20th anniversary all-time team will be available for purchase. Now tune in at 6 o'clock for details. All the money goes to the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation. That is the beautiful print, the all-time Diamondback team from earlier this year. And you've got signatures on there like Schilling and Johnson and Gonzalez and Greinke and Corbin, Pollock, Goldie, Montero, Brenly. They're all on there, all individually signed by every single member of that team. Only tomorrow, limit 1 per customer. That is an unbelievable item.
It really is, and we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks here. A big tip of the cap to everybody that helped with that. I mean, to try to coordinate all those players over the course of alumni weekend, get them in here for the couple of 3 hours that it took to sign those prints. And Diamondbacks staff did a tremendous job of getting the players in and out and getting all those signatures.
Yeah, there's 550 prints. Each one comes individually numbered with its own MLB authentication sticker on it. Bracho on to face Baez, who homered in the first. His second home run of this series, his 33rd of the year. So that's tomorrow night. The Diamondbacks, Fox Sports Arizona. Our television broadcast. We do it every year to raise money for the D-backs Foundation. $750 donation. You will get that limited edition commemorative print. $25 donation. You'll receive a smaller copy of the print that is not signed. Our fundraiser begins during the Fox Sports Arizona pregame show and concludes 30 minutes after the game's final out. So tune in throughout the broadcast and find out how to make your donation. Good fastball from Bracho. It's 2-2 on Baez. Bracho worked in the opener last night. 12 pitches, worked a 1-2-3 7th. Ben Zobrist on deck.
Bracho's shown a lot of confidence in that changeup this year. It's really come a long way for him. I think that's what he's going to throw right here. 3-2 to Baez.
Here it is. And it's lined into right for a base hit. Rizzo hustling into third. He got the changeup. First 4 Cubs batters have reached in the 5th.
Well, that's not a bad pitch. Down low, below the knees. He cues it right off the very end of the bat. Little soft liner out there to Souza in right field. Hits so softly that Rizzo's easily able to go first to third.
Chance for Zobrist now. Zobrist is struck out in single. Zobrist now at .315 with that batting average. That's third in the National League. Cubs have not had a top 5 finisher in the National League in terms of batting average since Derek Lee won a batting title back in '05. That seemed a little odd. Zobrist now in his 13th major league season, his 3rd year with the Cubs. Having a nice bounce back year at the age of 37. He looked like he was just about done last year. That changeup is low, but it's a strike. 1-1. Zobrist really heating up. He's hitting about .360 since the All-Star break. Kind of waves at that changeup. 1-2. Couldn't check. That's a really good sign. You fool a guy like Zobrist with your changeup. That's something you can put in your back pocket if you're Silvino Bracho. Lays off a fastball up at 94. 2-2. Dodgers Rockies still tied 1-1. They're in the fourth in LA. Wilson Contreras on deck. You've got Rizzo at third, Baez at first. Nobody out, 2 runs already in for Chicago.
Ben Zobrist spent 8 or 9 years with the Tampa Bay Rays, split some time between Kansas City and Oakland. I always felt this guy was a perfect National League player. It just seemed like, not that his talents were wasted in the American League, but he would have been much better suited to play in the National League.
Well, he's a winner. Remember when he played half a season in Kansas City when the Royals won the World Series and was maybe their best player down the stretch. And of course he can hit from either side of the plate. He can play second base, any outfield position. Got the start in right field last night. He's out there in left field tonight.
We talked about that unusual setup from the left side in the ball game last night, and you pointed out it almost looks like he's about to be hit by a pitch. Tucks that chin underneath that right shoulder to make sure to keep the front side in as he begins his swing.
Try the change up again, and it's full 3-2. D-backs still looking for their first out in the 5th inning. Cubs have out hit the Diamondbacks 9-2. They lead at 7-1. Bracho's run it full on both batters he's faced so far. And Zobrist pokes one down the line. That won't stay fair. Nice hair.
Very nice.
You're killing me, Smalls. One more time on 3-2. Try the changeup maybe once or twice too often. And now they're loaded for Wilson Contreras. First 5 in the Cubs' 5th have reached. Contreras 0 for 2. Got the fastball in. Contreras has not homered since August 1st. His power numbers have been way down this year. Just 9 home runs. He belted 21 last season. And Contreras has had nearly 100 more plate appearances this year than he did last year. So his power is way down. There's that changeup. He's sticking with it. Bracho ahead 0-2. Jason Hayward is scheduled to be up next, but Albert Almora Jr. is in the on-deck circle. Almora singled twice and scored twice in last night's ball game. Hayward coming off that hamstring problem. Looks like he'll get the rest of the night off. That is a squib shot, fair down the line. Goldie's got it. Bracho gets over there. Rizzo scores, and it's 8-1.
Baez with a cue shot off the end of the bat. Now a bad jam shot. That ball had so much English it landed in foul territory and spun back into fair territory. Bracho gets over there just in time to get the out at first, but the Cubs push across another run.
That's the first out of the inning. Here's Almora, who will hit for Hayward. Albert Almora, 287. He's homered 5 times. He's got Baez at third, Zobrist at second, 1 out. Almora singled twice, scored twice in last night's ball game. Got the start in center field. Hitting for Hayward. The pitcher Montgomery's in the on deck circle. Do have first base open here.
And you mentioned Jason Hayward, perhaps the best defensive outfielder in the game, but swapping Albert Almora in there, you're not losing anything defensively. He's an outstanding defender as well.
I first saw Almora in the fall league several years ago. He could really go get him out there. Still just 24 years old. That changeup up, but a strike. It's 2-1. Almora was the Cubs' first-round pick in the 2012 draft out of high school in Hialeah, Florida. The 6th player taken in that draft. That's where Alex Avila's from. 2-1. Good fastball at 93. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Montgomery on deck.
A little bit of an oddity tonight, partner, in that Nationals game against Miami. Bryce Harper, 5 plate appearances, 5 walks, none of them intentional. That's only happened 23 times in Major League Baseball history.
I remember Harper was leading the planet in walks when we played Washington not too long ago. Nationals won that game 4-2 at Marlins Park.
You know, Jimmy Fox back in 1938 had 6 plate appearances, walked 6 times, none of them intentional in a 9-inning game, but 5-5-0. It's the 23rd time it's happened.
Going to be interesting to see where Bryce Harper's playing baseball next year, headed for free agency. 2-2 on Almora.
It's interesting. One of the other times it happened was Steven Souza Jr. back in 2015 playing for Tampa Bay. Dusty Baker's on that list. Dale Murphy, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson.
Jose Canseco walked 5 times, none intentionally.
How about that?
Who knew? Three and 2 from Bracho. This is drilled to deep right center field. AJ runs it down. Here comes Baez. Zobrist will tag, and it's 9-1. AJ covered a whole bunch of ground and ran that one down just shy of the pool.
Started pretty much in straightaway center that time. Just took a really good line right to the spot, right to the edge of the warning track right there. Unfortunately deep enough to allow the run to tag and score from third base.
So now it's 9-1 Chicago, and the pitcher Montgomery will bat with Zobrist at third and 2 outs. Cubs have 9 runs on 9 hits. They've scored 4 here in the 5th. Bullpen still quiet for Torey Lovullo. This is Bracho's inning. Andriese got the start. He went 2. Gave up 5 runs. We've seen Sherfy, Diekman, now Silvino Bracho. Jerry Nair, the bench coach, on the right. Montgomery kind of got a running start at that one. 1-2. Going to the 5th inning at Dodger Stadium now. Rockies and Dodgers still tied at 1. That's Freeland versus Kershaw. Good pitching matchup. D-backs 5 games behind the Dodgers division lead. LA on top of the NL West by a half game over Colorado. The Rockies a half game behind the Cardinals for the 2nd National League wildcard spot. And Bracho gets the strikeout. The Cubs get 4 runs. They take a 9-1 lead. Home of Thursday night football, and the schedule on Fox this year is loaded with one can't miss matchup after another. They've got a great schedule on Fox. Thursday night football will be there starting in week 4. Now it's a game. Well, we got some changes for the Cubs. Ian Happ replaces Ben Zobrist by moving over to left field. Albert Almora Jr. takes over in center, and Zobrist moves over from left to right, replacing Jason Hayward. So Happ, Almora, Zobrist in the Cub outfield, left to right. Mike Montgomery back out there trying to get through 5. He'll face Marte Mathis, the pitcher's spot, lower third of the order due up for the Diamondbacks. Marte homered off Montgomery. Back in the 2nd, a line drive homer out to left. That one rolls up the line, stays fair. Marte hustling, and finally it trickles foul.
And you saw Contreras wait and wait and wait until that ball got completely into foul territory and then pounced on it. You have to touch it in foul territory, and that ball looked like it wanted to work back into fair territory. Gets on the chalk. You see all the divots and footprints and everything else down that first baseline. Contreras waited until it got completely into foul territory and then swept it out of play.
"60 pitches for Mike Montgomery, 40 strikes. Trying to even his record this year to 5-5. Marte able to check on that curveball. Matt Cook, the right-hander, starts to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Pitcher spot is due up third in this inning, right behind Jeff Mathis, who's the on-deck hitter. This is Sky near the Cub dugout behind the screen out of play. Well, this is obviously not going the Diamondbacks' way here, trailing 9-1, but we still got a very loyal fan group. Ralph and Jerry Courtney wrote us, Bob, from Green Valley. We're still pulling and praying for our team to come out on top, they say. They sent us a nice card, so thank you, Ralph and Jerry in Green Valley. The Courtneys. Marte strikes out. That's the 7th strikeout for Montgomery, his 3rd in a row. Barbara and Alan Townsend from Sun City, dreading the end of the season. They watch every game. So hi, Barbara and Alan. Thanks for your card. Jeff Mathis flew out to center his first time.
And a nice letter from Nancy Bonner. Her son Tony, like a lot of kids, played Little League ball, played all the way through high school, joined the Air Force, became a Little League coach at his base, came back here to the States, became a police officer in the city of Glendale, and unfortunately Tony was killed in the line of duty back in '07. And Nancy says every time they watch a ball game they have wonderful memories of their son Tony, and we thank you for your son's service, and hope we get nothing but good memories watching Diamondbacks baseball.
God bless. Christian Walker will hit for the pitcher Bracho. Christian at 179. He's homered twice. Well, you can't hit an 8-run homer, so you got to just start chipping away. Christian 5 for 25 as a pinch hitter this year. 2 doubles and 2 home runs in a pinch hit role. Good matchup for him right here against the left-hander. Contreras throws down to first. Christian got a changeup that time. 1-1. Rockies have taken a 2-1 lead at Dodger Stadium. They're in the bottom of the 5th. That's Kershaw on the mound for LA. Kyle Freeland for Colorado.
Charlie Blackmon's solo home run against Kershaw, giving the Rockies a 2-1 lead in the 5th.
Well, Montgomery keeps feeding Walker these changeups, and he's ahead 1-2 with A.J. Pollock on deck. No, we didn't go. Lance Barksdale down there. Here's the update from Dodger Stadium. Blackmon off Kershaw, deep and gone. That is way out there. That's a poke in that ballpark. So Kershaw trailing Colorado 2-1. They're in the 5th. Rockies, I guess, got good news on Trevor Story's elbow injury. The MRI came back clean. This is driven out to right field. Ben Zobrist backing up. Story had to leave the game yesterday with an elbow problem. They thought he might have a UCL injury, but I guess he's going to be okay and should be back in a few days. Montgomery now at 70 pitches. Here's A.J. Pollock.
Yeah, Garrett Hampson starting at shortstop tonight for the Rockies.
Rockies in their 25 years have never won a division title. They're only a half game back. A.J. 0 for 2. Cubs overload the third base side of the infield against A.J. He has struck out and fly down. Jeff Mathis at first, 2 outs. Fastball down and away. Gail and Bob Carlson are watching Diamondbacks baseball from Sun City West. They write us and say we watch you guys every game. So hi Gail and Bob in Sun City. Mary Davis from Tempe loves watching the Diamondbacks game. She says it's the highlight of my day. She sent us a nice card, so thank you, Mary in Tempe. Thanks for watching the D-backs. Well, that changeup has really worked for Mike Montgomery here tonight. He's only walked 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. He's given up just 1 run on 3 hits. Trying to get out of the 5th with a 9-1 lead. Escobar would be next. He has walked and doubled tonight. Lays off a low fastball. Full count, 3-2. A.J. homered here last night. Broke up the Kyle Hendricks shutout bid to lead off the 9th. There goes Mathis from first, and A.J. skies this one into the seats out of play.
Congratulations to Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays. Got his 20th victory tonight.
He's had a tremendous season. He might win the Cy Young in the American League.
Very well could.
And the Rays under Kevin Cash, after they traded everybody, have done a tremendous job. Here's the final from Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. There goes Mathis again. A.J. lifts it in the air along the line. Here comes Zobrist. We have played 5 innings. D-backs trail the Cubs 9-1.
Happen as we head to the 6th inning, and prior to today's game, Torey Lovullo very complimentary of Joe Maddon. The two skippers go way back. They have a storied past. They've been in opposing dugouts during their time in the AL East. And Torey was also with the Angels organization in the 90s when Maddon was on their staff. And Torey told me that he has nothing but good things to say about Maddon as a player, as a coach, a manager, a person. He said the reason why his players love to play for him is because he has the ability to bring out the best in them. Torey said players have their best seasons under his direction, and the fact that Maddon, no matter what the situation is for the team, no matter how far they may be out, no matter if they're independent race or if they're like this guy's playing on no rest, he never gives up. He never lets his team give in. Never lets them shut it down. He keeps it simple out there, keeps it fun, and keeps his players engaged.
He's a very engaging guy, Kate. He's a fascinating guy to sit down and talk to, Joe Maddon. He's a lot of fun. Wholesale changes for Torey Lovullo as Matt Cook is out to start the top of the 6th inning. Ian Happ will lead it off for Chicago. New battery, John Ryan Murphy takes over behind the plate for Jeff Mathis. Ildemaro Vargas at third for Escobar. Socrates Brito in left replacing David Peralta. Chris Owings takes over in center replacing A.J. Pollock, and Christian Walker is the new first baseman as Goldie sits the rest of this one out. So here's Matt Cook. Matt's 18th appearance of the year. He's the guy that really had to take one for the team when Clay Buchholz could not answer the bell Thursday at Colorado. Clay had that flexor tendon issue, that strain, while warming up in the bullpen just before the game. So Matt had to go out there at Coors Field against the Rockies in a critical game for the Diamondbacks and start that on about 6 minutes notice. And that's a lot to ask of a young guy. That's a lot to ask of anyone. But he's able to give Torey Lovullo some length here tonight as Ian Happ leads off the inning. Happ had an RBI double in the second. He struck out his last time up. And he's caught looking at strike 3. High fastball from Jim Reynolds, 1 down. He's got a pretty good beef right there.
Yeah.
But it's 9-1, so that strike zone may start to expand a little bit. Here's Daniel Murphy. Murphy has singled, homered, walked, scored 3 times, and knocked in 2.
We were talking a moment ago about Blake Snell getting his 20th victory for the Tampa Bay Rays, who have 84 victories this season, and they've been officially eliminated. That's more wins than the Braves, who lead their division by 5.5 games, more wins than the Dodgers or the Rockies. Well, I don't think anybody saw Tampa Bay doing what they did this year. Unfortunately, it comes in a year where Boston decided to run off and win about 150 games.
That is amazing. The Tampa Bay Rays would be leading the National League West if they were in this division after they traded off half their team at the deadline. On a play, and it's 1-2. They had a play. I don't know if you saw it, but the Dodgers have tied the Rockies 2-2. They're in the bottom of the 5th in LA. A play that I'm not sure you've ever seen before. I'm not sure I've ever seen it before. There's about 9 different guys standing at third base. Watch Nolan Arenado, the Rockies' third baseman. Taylor hits it to third. Runner at second. Everybody's over there. Arenado.
Oh no.
And the run scores as Austin Barnes comes in with a tying run. 2-2 in the 5th inning. That's an E5 on Arenado for Bud Black. That was that escalated quickly.
Yes, it did.
That's the umpire. There's nowhere for that poor guy to go. Arenado tossed it right to him.
He gets in Hampson's way. He might have been able to make a play on that ball. Freeland backing it up there. Unusual looking play.
Well, Matt Cook has come on. He struck out Happy, struck out Murphy, and now he'll work to Chris Bryant.
Seems funny. Nolan Arenado stands on his head and makes strong throws from foul territory to get guys at first base, but had to toss the ball 5 feet and gets a throwing error.
It's funny how this game, which to some people might seem slow at times, can move at lightning speed other times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kind of sped up on Arenado there. They'll put the shift on for Bryant, who doubled and scored his last time up. It's rolled to third. It goes to Vargas. Ildemaro Vargas just checked in at third for Escobar. That's an E5.
Just a little late getting the glove down there. Clanks off the heel of the glove. Then he loses his footing. Can't go after the baseball. I don't think they had any chance to get Bryant at first base after the initial bobble.
So Rizzo gets a chance. Second error on the Diamondbacks tonight. Mathis had a throwing error back in the first. Marte way back on the outfield grass at second. He's playing short right now. That's that Matt Cook cutter. There's Marte back. Another cutter from Cook, and it's 1-2. Brian Butterfield coaching at third for the Cubs.
Yeah, this is a strange game. Anthony Rizzo hit that line drive up the middle that Nick Ahmed made a real nice play on back in the first inning. He lined out to Steven Souza Jr. in right field in the third, and then drove home too with a little soft jam shot base hit.
And he's caught looking at a cutter away. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Matt Cook. D-backs trail at 9-1. This one 9-1. Cheer on your D-backs in the NL West showdown at the ballpark. Rockies are in town this weekend, and the Dodgers will be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Every game counts. D-backs back in the fight for postseason. Get your seats now at dbacks.com. I know Michael from Douglas, Arizona will be here. He's a weekend season ticket holder. Michael sent us a letter. Here's Owings along the line. And Zobrist runs it down in foul ground. 1 pitch, 1 out for Montgomery in the 6th. David Bodie takes over at second base, replacing Daniel Murphy for the Cubs, the only defensive change. Here's Ildemaro Vargas, took over at third for Eduardo Escobar. Vargas's numbers at AAA Reno this year, had a terrific season. 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts this year as the Diamondback. There's a strike.
He got a text from John Holmberg, who's too cheap to buy a stamp, so he sent us a text instead. He wanted to know how come a ball that's hit for a single isn't replaced, but a ball that bounces in the dirt at home plate on a pitch is replaced.
It's a fair question.
I don't know if I have an easy answer for that, John. I guess a pitch thrown, you know, upwards to 100 miles an hour that hits in the dirt in front of home plate is obviously going to have a big scuff on it once it hits the dirt. But a ground ball that bounces through the infield slowly and rolls through the grass for part of the ways, you know, maybe it doesn't get scuffed up as badly.
Vargas hits it to third for Bryant. Oh, he's got a big arm. It pulls Rizzo off the bag. Chris Bryant's got an absolute cannon of a throwing arm. And put a little too much on that one. E5.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
1 out. Vargas at first. Socrates Brito took over in left field for David Peralta. Socrates 3 for 21 at the plate this year. We got a letter from Carol Simmons in Gilbert. She had a very good question. I'm not sure if you can answer it, frankly. So Carol, they watch all the Diamondback games in her house, her and her husband. Watch every televised game. However, they have a little debate going in the house. Does Bob have a staff? Now, my husband, who's another Steve, says the staff is an ongoing joke. There's not really a staff, but she thinks Bob does have an actual staff with his busy schedule. So Carol Simmons and Gilbert and her husband would like to know if you really do have a staff. That one is going to drop into left for Brito.
Oh, yes, indeed. I really do have a staff, and they are a joke.
Couldn't have put it better myself. We hope that clarifies things. Carol, thanks so much for watching. Here's Suzu, who struck out twice. Steven right now sitting 3 for 40 in September and trying to get it going here. I don't know if your staff have their feelings hurt by the fact that Carol's husband thought we were just kind of kidding around.
No. This is serious stuff. They get here very early every day. They've got their little 3x5 index cards. They write all kinds of notes and statistics and historical references.
All that is very true.
Yeah. Then they play the national anthem and they all go to sleep.
Well, that's when you come in and take over. Just delegating's all that is.
Sure.
2 on and 1 out for Souza. D-backs have been out hit 9-4. They trail it 9-1. See, there's
several work. Look at him digging through stats. Got the cards going. Got the computers up.
Unidentified staff members.
There we go. They're at their best right now.
And those are the guys who are just on the late shift. There's an early shift. They clock out and these guys come in. I thought the time clock that you had installed was frankly a little much.
Well, yeah, there was some questionable hours put in, so we thought this way it just eliminates any doubt.
You run a tight ship, there's no doubt about it. As we sail along on the SS Brenly.
Iceberg.
Montgomery at 90 pitches now, trying to get through the 6th. And there's some action now in the Cub bullpen. 90 pitches, 59 for strikes. He has walked only 1. He struck out 7 so far. 2-2 on Steven Souza Jr. Got him. 3rd time tonight Souza has struck out. 8 strikeouts for Montgomery. There's a look inside the Cubby bullpen. Alec Mills, the right-hander, just called up from AAA Iowa about a week ago. Here comes Jim Hickey, the pitching coach. Well, we know a lot of D-back fans are hanging in with us. It's been a disappointing September, certainly, but based on some of our fans and viewers, they're hanging in. Donna and Walt Bean from Virginia are big D-backs fans. Donna's mom, Glenna Fry, lives in West Phoenix. She's got a birthday coming up soon, so a pre-happy birthday to Glenna Fry in West Phoenix. Jim and Jean Claypatch from Washington State. Now they live up there in Washington State. That's Jake Lamb country, Steven Souza Jr. country. They watch all the Diamondback games on their satellite TV package. They're huge D-back fans. Sharon Price lives in Reno, Nevada. Sharon watches all the games on the MLB Extra Innings package from home
probably
in
when
Reno.
she isn't out watching the Aces play. Yeah.
Right there. So the folks are hanging in with us. Chance for Nick Ahmed now. 2 on and 2 out. Nick has struck out twice so far. It's funny how many Diamondback fans are out there. You find them in all kinds of places. We got a letter from Mark Odor in Belle Plaine, Minnesota. Mark watches all the games on his MLB.TV subscription.
Nice.
Al Doyne and his wife Beverly. They're in Overgard. Says we got a lot of D-back fans in Overgard, Arizona. Nick bounces one fair at 3rd. And they get the force on Vargas. We head to the 7th. D-backs down 9-1. D-backs trail the Cubs. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Quite a pitching matchup tomorrow. A couple of very good left-handers. Robbie Ray for the D-backs and Cole Hamels for Chicago. Diamondback Live pregame show straight up at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona. Matt Cook back out there. Javier Baez will lead off the 7th for Chicago. D-backs last night 1 run on 3 hits. Tonight 1 run on 4 hits. Baez, who homered last night, has homered again tonight in the first off Matt Andriese, his 33rd. Leading the National League in RBIs. Now got 107 on the year. Tell you what, it's been a very impressive outing so far for Matt Cook. He struck out 3 batters in the 6th. Jumps ahead of Baez 0-2. You've got Zobrist on deck. Matt Cook 4 strikeouts, 1 down in the 7th. Zobrist so far has singled and walked. He's 1 for 2. Bounced over the mound. Ahmed behind the bag. 2 down.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Wilson Contreras 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out.
See, this is the kind of stuff my staff will dig up for me. No player has ever started in each of the top 8 spots in the batting order, which Javier Baez has done this year.
And he got another base hit. Oh, this is Contreras. Baez.
Yeah, no player's ever started in each of the top 8 spots in a batting order and won the MVP.
Wow, how do they find that?
I don't know.
That's pretty
They
impressive.
might have just made it up for all I know. Javier Baez 12 starts in the 8-hole this year.
There he is. Batting cleanup tonight. Contreras with a 2-out single. Here's Almora. Well, that's the kind of nugget that they come up, which is why they're so highly paid. That's like the politicians, you know, they have speech writers, right? They have a staff that writes their addresses and stuff, and same principle applies. Right center, AJ on the run. Owings dropped the glove. And Contreras is in at third. Chris Owings almost had that one. Almora hustles into second. And the Cubs have 2 on and 2 out.
Long run, no doubt about it, for Chris Owings, but I'm sure he'll tell you after the ball game that's a ball he feels like he should have caught right there.
And he put an E8 on the board. Here's Terrence Gore, who will hit for the pitcher Montgomery. Just 3 plate appearances with the Cubs this year. He's already got 5 stolen bases. He's kind of your designated runner. Acquired from Kansas City. Terrence Gore 4 years with the Royals, but only 49 major league games. None this year before he was traded to the Cubs. These might be the closest thing there is now to Herb Washington.
Yeah.
Remember Herb Washington, the
Sure.
Charlie Finley Oakland A's? He spent most of this year at AAA Omaha, Terrence Gore. This is popped up. Murphy's looking up there. Here comes Vargas from third. And he's got it in foul ground. We stretch at Chase Field. It's 9-1. Air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. Ketel Marte is 12th home run of the year. That's the only run of the game so far for the Diamondbacks. Marte will lead off the home half of the 7th. Time now for the Quicken Loans Rocket Mortgage Breakdown. Ketel Marte, the only player in the majors this year with double digits in triples, doubles, and home runs.
How about that?
He's leading the major leagues with those 11 triples. And he's leading off the 7th against the right-hander Alec Mills, just recalled from AAA back on September 9th. On to replace Mike Montgomery.
That double digits in doubles, triples, and homers. If Javier Baez gets another triple, he'll join Ketel Marte. He's stuck on 9 triples right now to go along with his 33 homers and 37 doubles.
Marte has homered and struck out. Dodgers and Rockies are still tied at 2. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Los Angeles. Gore takes over in left field, replacing Ian Happ, who moves over to right, replacing Ben Zobrist. And sure enough, right to Gore, the new guy.
This big right-hander on the mound for the Cubs. Alec Mills went to high school at Montgomery Central High School in Cunningham, Tennessee, and was named Male Athlete of the Year all 4 years of high school.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
John Ryan Murphy, 207 and 9 homers. His last plate appearance was August 30th at Dodger Stadium in a start against LA. He's been used mostly as a defensive replacement ever since. And John Ryan strikes out, 2 down.
Receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos. And as a public service, we want to alert you that there's only 98 days until Christmas.
Christian Walker took over at first base for Goldie. Flied out to right his first time up.
He set up on the inside corner and have to reach back across the plate. Even though that pitch was all over the strike zone, they don't get the call that time. Too much movement that time from Contreras.
Changeup filed away, 1-1. Pitcher spot is up next. It's the leadoff spot in the batting order now, and Matt Cook is in the on-deck circle. Matt's looked awfully good so far tonight. He's got 4 strikeouts in 2 innings. Good breaking ball from Mills, 1-2.
Stop the presses, partner.
Yeah.
Nolan Arenado has made another throwing error in that ball game.
Wow. Well, everybody said he had a shoulder problem. He said he didn't. We saw him take 100,000 throws before every game in Colorado, but you never know. They had Story, had the elbow. Arenado's been battling that shoulder for the last month or so, seemingly. Actually, the Rockies have rearranged their rotation. They're skipping John Gray, so they're going to have a different look to their rotation. So we're going to get Germán Marquez on Friday. So they lined it up. So if there's a playoff game or a wild card game, they'll want the guys they have available. So they alter their pitching rotation for the series starting on Friday today. Walker caught looking at a changeup. Mills works a 1-2-3-7. Diamondbacks down 9-1. $25.99 lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game and get a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv and take advantage of this limited time offer. Only 10 more games to go after this one. D-backs trail at 9-1. Matt Cook back out there for his 3rd inning of work, and Ian Happ will lead it off for the Cubs. 9 runs, 10 hits for Chicago. 1 run, 4 hits for the Diamondbacks. They have committed 3 errors. Happ had an RBI double in the second. Cubs got 2 in the first, 3 in the second, and 4 in the 5th. Shift is on. They overload the right hand side against him. Change up from Cook, 0-1. Ian Happ, a switch hitter. 15 home runs this year, 12 coming as a left-hand batter. Out of the University of Cincinnati. That's where Josh Harrison played his college ball.
Tony Campana.
Oh yeah,
Harrison and Campana were actually teammates. That's pretty good speed.
Check swing foul. Well, barring a comeback, the Cubs will take a 3.5 game lead over Milwaukee atop the National League Central. The Brewers lost at home to Cincinnati 3-1 tonight. This would be win number 89 for Joe Maddon's ball club, the most in the National League. Cutter misses away, 2-2. Cardinals won at Atlanta 8-1. So you've got the Brewers and the Cardinals holding the 2 National League wild card spots right now. The Rockies a half game back of St. Louis for that second spot. They are tied up with the Dodgers right now, 2-2 in the 7th in LA. Dodgers lead the NL West by just a half game over Colorado. Bodie, the on deck hitter. And Matt Cook gets his 5th strikeout.
Well, he started and finished the sequence with that straight changeup. That's been a really good pitch for him here tonight. As I mentioned, first pitch changeup, swinging strike, then a cutter right down at the bottom of the zone. They get the call right there. Misses up high with a 4-seamer. Little check swing foul ball right there. Just off the corner with a fastball, just off the inside corner with a fastball, then finishes him off with the same pitch he started him with. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Curveball starts it off to Bodie. 230 and 6 home runs. The single last night, struck out 3 times. 3 defenders on the left side of the infield for the Diamondbacks. Bodie in a 2 for 23 slump right now. Curveball misses away, 2-1. Into center, a base hit. Just the second Chicago hit against Matt Cook, a 1-out single. Brings up Chris Bryant. Bryant doubled and scored in the 5th. 1 for 4. On to third. Nice pick by Vargas. And the Diamondbacks turn 2. Ildemaro Vargas gets it started. Diamondbacks trail at 9-1. home about here. Last night, 1 run on 3 hits. Tonight, 1 run on 4 hits. Matt Andriese in his start lasted only 2 innings. Matt Cook has been terrific. He's worked 3 so far. He's got 5 strikeouts, and Matt will lead off the bottom of the 8th against Cubs right-hander Alec Mills. Matt does have a base hit this year, 1 for 16. Rolls 1 to second. Bodie gets over there, bobbles it, and cannot recover. Somebody's got to get it started.
Yeah, why not Matt Cook? Little ground ball to the right side, looked pretty routine. David Bodie just came over and clanked it, couldn't find the handle quickly enough, and good on Matt Cook for hustling down that first baseline. How many times you see a pitcher just jog down the baseline, concede the out? Not that time.
That's an E4. Error on the second baseman. Bodie brings up the center fielder Chris Owings. Changeup fouled back. That one got Contreras. 0-2 on Owings. I would think, considering what the Cubs have been through with this 30 straight days with a baseball game, that Contreras would have come out before now.
Yeah, seems kind of odd he's still in the ball game. I have to believe he's going to be coming out shortly. You saw Joe Maddon's got his lineup card in his hand, was looking at it as he walked out there to home plate. I thought he was going to bring Victor Caratini with him. Well, you'd have a hard time convincing Wilson Contreras of this, but where he got hit with that foul ball was better than getting hit in the hand. He had that bare hand very close to where that foul ball ended up.
I'm telling Jim Reynolds he's okay, so fortunately we're good to go. A changeup up and in, and Owings strikes out. 1 down. Third strikeout for Mills. Ildemaro Vargas.
Third baseman, Ildemaro Vargas.
Ildemaro Vargas, parts of 10 seasons in the minor leagues. He's got something of a David Peralta-like story. Bounced over the mound. And the Cubs turn 2. We head to the 9th inning. It's 9-1 Chicago. Our annual charity fundraiser, the Diamondbacks and Fox Sports Arizona combining to benefit the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation. A $750 donation gets you this limited edition commemorative print signed by each and every member of the 20th anniversary all-time team. Tune in at 6 o'clock tomorrow for details. Help support the Diamondbacks Foundation. It goes all the way through, starting from the pregame show up until 30 minutes after the game's final out. A limited number of those prints, all individually, personally signed by every member on the team. That means Goldie has signed it, Greinke, Pollock, Corbin, Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson, Luis Gonzalez, Bob Brenly, on down the list. That is really a one-of-a-kind item. Each one is individually numbered. You've got your certificate of authentication from MLB. It's all on there, and it's all tomorrow night as Robbie Ray takes on Cole Hamels in the series finale with the Cubs. Matt Cook back out there now for inning number 4. And it looks like Joe Madden will empty his bench here in the 9th. Anthony Rizzo is due up. Victor Caratini will hit for Rizzo. Javier Baez is the on-deck hitter, or the scheduled hitter after this, but Addison Russell has come out of the on-deck circle. So Caratini hits for Rizzo, 250. He's homered twice, a switch hitter. And Cook has looked terrific so far. He's only given up 2 hits, both single. He's got 5 strikeouts. And he's ahead of Caratini 0-2. Six strikeouts for Matt Cook, 1 down.
Matt Cook has come into this ball game and restored a little bit of order out there on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Really done a fine job tonight under real tough circumstances.
Addison Russell will hit for Javier Baez. 249 and 5 homers. Russell got the start at shortstop last night. Went 0 for 4, a couple of strikeouts. Taylor Davis is in the on-deck circle. He would hit for the pitcher Mills. Just called up from AAA Iowa. Oh, 0-2 on Russell. Got him. Chased a high fastball. 7 strikeouts and 3 2/3 for Matt Cook.
Elevated 4-seamer that time. Addison Russell likes to swing at that high pitch. Matt Cook scooted it up there a little bit higher than he could handle.
Career high 7 strikeouts for Matt Cook. Here's Taylor Davis, 1 hit in 3 plate appearances for the Cubs. Made his major league debut last year. 8 seasons in the minors. He's 28 years old. Curveball misses up. Davis played all year with AAA Iowa, hit 275 and 4 home runs. Out of Tampa, Florida. Grew up in Jupiter.
Taylor Davis was the guy when playing in the minor leagues that always knew where the camera was at the ballpark. There was a thing on YouTube, I believe, where like during the national anthem he'd suddenly turn his head to the right and look right into the camera, or as he was celebrating a home run back on the bench he would look right into the camera every time. It became his thing.
Well, when you're in the minors for 8 years, you got to get your FaceTime somehow. Finally broke into the big leagues last year. Just 13 plate appearances with Chicago.
You know, all the guys would be lined up in the infield high-fiving after a win, and he'd just stop in the middle of high-fiving and turn around and look right at the third base camera.
Well, that's what they teach you in TV school. Look into the camera. 2-2. Over the mound, and it rolls into center. Davis has got a base hit. Where's the camera?
Now, this is serious stuff. This is big leagues. I can't monkey around now.
Contreras will hit. Bouncer to shortstop, and we'll head to the home half of the ninth. D-backs down 9-1. Track bullpen cart, the veteran Brandon Kinsler, who started the year with Washington, now a Chicago Cub, and he's arriving in style. I'd like to see that. And he will work the bottom of the ninth inning. Socrates Brito, Steven Souza Jr., Nick Ahmed due up. Looks like Taylor Davis has taken over behind the plate. You've got Caratini at first and Russell at shortstop. Addison Russell the shortstop. Victor Caratini replaces Rizzo at first. Davis and Kinsler the new battery. Socrates leads off the ninth. Dodgers and Rockies are still tied in LA 2-2. They're in the ninth inning. LA on top of the NL West by only a half game over Colorado. 2-2 on Socrates Brito. Souza 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts on deck. D-backs still with only 4 hits. Last night 1 run on 3 hits. Tonight 1 on 4 hits. They've committed 3 errors. This is line to right. Ian Happ runs it down. Well, I see the Orioles have lost again. They lost at home to Toronto 6-4. So in the American League East, will the Red Sox win more than the Orioles lose? Right now Boston has 103 wins. Baltimore has 108 losses. The Orioles are 60 games back in the division.
Well, I will say it's easier to do what the Orioles are doing than it is to do what the Red Sox are doing.
That's true. Well, the good news for the Orioles is they're only 47.5 out of a wild card spot.
Wow.
So it's not as bleak as it appears.
Yeah, the American League East is probably out of reach at this point, I would think. 60 games behind the Red Sox.
Souza's ahead 2-0. Of course, the Indians have already wrapped up the American League Central. Astros now have a 4.5 game lead over Oakland atop the West. Houston beat Seattle 7-0 tonight. Oakland still playing. In fact, they trail the Angels 7-4. They're in the 7th. 3-0 on Souza. Ahmed on deck. Braves lead atop the National League East is 5.5 over the Phillies. Brewers have lost. They lost at home to Cincinnati 3-1. So the Cubs with a win here will move 3.5 games ahead of Milwaukee atop the NL Central. Off the side of the mound, Addison Russell collects it. 2 outs. Gracie and Todd standing by. D-backs live postgame show follows our ball game. Nick Ahmed 0 for 3. Where has the offense gone? Diamondbacks in Houston. 4 runs on 6 hits Saturday. 4 runs, 5 hits Sunday. Last night 1 run, 3 hits. Tonight 1 run, 4 hits. Got him. D-backs drop this one 9-1. The Cubs clinch a series win. Diamondbacks will look to Robbie Ray to salvage the finale tomorrow night against Cole Hamels. And it's tough to be a Diamondback these days. They've lost 9 of their last 11 and 18 of their last 25.
Yeah, earlier in the season we might have said, well, just go ahead and take a shower, wash this one off, and come back tomorrow. I don't think there's enough soap in the shower.
Only 10 more games to go. Gracie standing by with Todd.
Steve, thank you very much. And Mark, I will say this, and you don't say this very often, I think, in the course of a Major League Baseball season, but this game was over early.
Very early. And I think leading up maybe to a week ago, the Diamondbacks early in September took a lot of power shots. I mean, they took some haymakers, And eventually, if you take enough haymakers, you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. I think this Cubs series is shown that this club, as hard as they fought all year, I think they've been knocked out.
Yeah, and the Cubs are a pretty good team.
Very good team.
In a fight, and were able to distance themselves a little bit in the National League Central. We'll talk about that and so much more. So we'll come back in just a couple of moments because our coverage continues here on Fox Sports Arizona of Diamondbacks baseball, and that means D-Backs Live, the post-game show presented by CenturyLink, is around the corner. Bob Brenly is waiting for us up at the broadcast booth. Kate Longworth is down at field level. She'll make her way into the interview room. We'll hear from Tori Lavello as per usual, and then post-game reaction to another tough night here at Chase Field as the Cubs win 9-1.